welcome to Beauties and Beasties, the independent pest podcast for the UK.
Hello. How are we all doing?
Oi. I'm okay, mate. You?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I've been very thankful for a bit of a cooler week, has to be said.
It's
Although
roasting here today.
Is it? Oh, it's been lovely and overcast here today. Words that you don't really expect to say. But there we go. But it's been good because actually, you can see now I'm finally back in my little office. Couldn't be working in my office for the last couple of weeks prior to this because it got at like 33 degrees in here. I think health and safety issue with that. But it should be fun talking heat because not next week, but from the 1st to the 14th of August, I'm going to be out in Malaysia and Indonesia. So that should be good fun with the day job. Yeah, well, I'm going to be going. I'm doing it's less rural pest control. Less urban pest control, more rural and agricultural pest control that I'm going to be going and having a look at. So it's going to be a completely different world. It's actually going to be really
paddy field rats, rice rats, or something.
It's a whole host of different rat species actually, and they all the damage that they can do to crops is not just sort of like it's not just an inconvenience. It can be like significant, like financially significant to these groups of growers. And so the idea is to go out there and try and find some solutions, some environmentally sustainable solutions to try and bring these populations down, whilst at the same time stopping crop damage as a result of it. So that should be a really interesting actually sort of like couple of weeks. So it's going to be one of these, and it's quite fun as well because every time I tell someone, you're going to Malaysia and India, you're going to have any time to go traveling or see anything. I had a look at the itinerary the other day, and literally it is land, travel to site 1, and then sort of like stop over,
get on with it,
travel to site 2, travel to site 3, travel to site 4. There is no such thing as a weekend on this trip. It is go from beginning to end. So that should be I'm all for that. I've got a short time there, so getting as much done as possible actually very much suits me down to the ground.
There was quite a bit in the old Rent-A-Kill Library Rats and Mice book about rats attacking crops and stuff like that, if I remember rightly.
There is. I do have that. I think the actual book is called Pests or Crop Pests by it is the Rent-A-Kill Library. Is it John Stephen something?
I think I got the Rats and Mice by Adrian Meehan. Rats and Mice.
Meehan, this one. This one here.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
This one. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm quite proud of this. Number 1, my dad stamped it because he's anal like that. But it's a signed copy. It's an actual signed copy from the author himself. So how cool is that? And I have this now appropriated for myself.
They are worth, if anybody watching hasn't. Rats and Mice by J.R. Hartley. If anybody watching or listening is after any books, I mean, they are pretty old, the Rent-A-Kill Library books, but they are definitely still worth getting, and you can pick them up sometimes quite cheap on eBay.
Yeah, and you might imagine this was printed and distributed in the year before I was born, 1984. But a lot of the information and a lot of the material in these books is still relevant today. And in fact, there's some little gems in some of these older books, control strategies, deployment tactics, application methodology, that we've stopped using for one reason or another. Actually, it makes a lot of good sense, and it will roll back round again, undoubtedly, at that. So if you want to get sort of like a really good insight, or see actually sort of like, because this was around about the time that things like pulse baiting was just coming into its thing. Duboc had just sort of like developed the pulse baiting technique, and that was revolutionary. And we kind of take that for granted now, don't we? But at one point, pulse baiting was the big talking point as to how we were going to use these brand new second generation anticoagulants. So
now we've come on. Now we're going to do it slightly different way around. Now we've come to mention the Rentokil library. And I've got a nice long list here, which I was going to leave till the end. We've got this guy coming on next week, and these are the things that he invented. And amongst those are...
You kind of gave it away then. I could see the name at the bottom of it.
Oh, no. Amongst those are the bromide range of rodenticides. If anybody ex-Rentokil guys remembers bromide and bromotrol, he also invented the sugar ball shooting system, the Rentokil fumigation bubble, the Rentokil flying insect control system, the fly killer with the whirly, the radar mouse detector pressure pad. Also, self-cleaning door handles, methods of checking staff sanitizing, the CSI method of bed bug detection, BB alert, method to remove bed bugs from bedding with nitrogen, amongst other things. And he's written a few books, and he's on next week. And his name is Colin Smith.
Yeah.
So,
and actually, I think that segues quite nicely into what we're going to talk about tonight, because we just sat here and we've spoken about the past of pest management coming back around and the people inventing things and the rest of it. But the real future of pest control, what's that?
Do you know what, Alex? I've got to say, do you know what? That all went quite smoothly, didn't it? It wasn't.
I didn't rehearse that at all, guys.
You couldn't even.
That was.
You could have even scripted that.
So, future of pest control, of course, is the people in pest control. It is the people who are going to be doing pest control. It's those who are going to learn, and eventually it will be they who will, in 5, 10, 15 years time, be sat on a podcast once again saying, yes, well, I invented the ray gun 50,000, which is a novel invention that blasts tiny bugs out of the air with microwave lasers. So as we have it there, as you're going to see him first, we have actually, before we bring him on, there's a bit of a story behind this, because this is one of the one I guess is from the ranks of the 5 for 25 brigade. And Hugh, I'm going to let you just explain that a little bit more, because I think this is a bit more of your wheelhouse. So what is the 5 for 25?
So there has been an initiative between the MPTA and Syngenta to bring on 5 candidates that have been under 25 and put them through their RSPH level 2, and to be able to encourage them to take up pest control as a career. So they've MPTA, Syngenta kindly have put these people forward, and Farah is one of them. There is a second lot of tranche or cohort being taken on. So in fact, I believe that you only have a few days left. Entries close at the end of this month. So if you are under 25 and you want to be considered to be sponsored for your level 2, then please send in your names, phone up the NPTA office and put your names forward. After this 5, there will be a further 5 in the future. And
do they need to have any prerequisites? Do they need to be a part of a company already? Do they need to be an MPTA member, or is this open to anyone who's interested in being a part of the brigade?
MPTA members, please.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't. Go on. Sorry, Alex. No, it's fine.
I'd say MPTA membership is relatively easy to get. I mean, it's straightforward. It's nice and transparent. All the details are on the website. So don't let that set you back. Even if you just the MPTA membership. Correct me if I'm wrong, Hugh. Is the initial membership is not company membership, it's an individual membership. So
Yeah.
if you want to register yourself as an MBTA member, before you've got, you know, everything necessarily up and running, you can still do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can work your way up through, you know, individual membership, then 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 5, and onwards and upwards as it goes. So yeah, you can be an individual member. So I would encourage anybody that wants to, please put your names forward. And if you weren't lucky this time, then your application form will be in and ready for the next time, and you will be considered then.
Awesome. So should we speak to the
Yeah.
one of the very first cohorts to come through and see what their experiences are? So we're going to welcome to the stage. Hey,
There
maybe
we
to
go.
introduce yourself to everyone.
Yeah, my name's Farah Moore. I'm work for Shawkill Pest Control. What else is there to say? That's me pretty much in a nutshell.
Tell us, how did you get to pest control? I mean, you're relatively young, so I'm not expecting a litany of jobs and careers. But what were you doing before pest control? What was taking up your life?
Yeah. So left school. Because a few of my friends were going to uni, so I thought I'll try uni, give uni a go. I used to play football, so is everyone's dream as a young kid to be a football player, but no, didn't work out. And then went to uni, did sports coaching, which is completely
Like everybody does.
Yeah, just different ideas, you know what I mean? So, and then did that. I did 1 year, because it was during COVID. I didn't really get the opportunity to do it as much, you know, go in and really learn. And for me, I like to see it in paper form. I'm not really one of these, not geeks on the computer, but you know, just really learn from the computer because I like to be, you know, a bit of help sometimes from there and then. So I did that, and then I think it was actually my mum who said to me, "Look, you know, it's not really benefiting you." And I said, "Yeah, that's fine." And then my mum and dad also have properties on the side, so they said, "Why don't you get into property management?" So I did a level 3, level 3 in that. So I did that. I got level 3 in property management and development. And then it really came to my dad saying that he wanted to retire. He wanted to throw the towel in. He wanted to move to France, and he's got a house there, but we won't go on about that because it'll be longer than the podcast go on for this. But you know, so him and my mum decided to do that, and they were going to sell it. And then I said to my dad, "Well, I'll take it on. I've been in the van with you since I was 8. Pretty much, I remember him picking me up from cricket and then going back out to do wasp jobs. He'd used to come and watch me play cricket, and then on a summer's evening, like, well, I know it's not really summer in England you get, but when it was nice, jump back in the van with him and sit in the van with my fruit shoot and packet of quavers, and then, you know, go and watch him do a wasp nest and up until about 10 o'clock at night. So I said, you know, give me the reins, I'll do it. I'll do all the training for it. So I did my insect control. I passed that. And then also did my rodent control level 1 and 2. So got the basis of that. So I could order stock and I could really, you know, apply it into areas like, you know, domestic and commercial. And then now when my dad was with me, and then now he's kind of said, well, there you go. I've shown you the tools. It's up to you now. You know, I've built this client base up for 30 years, 30, 40 years. And he started with an old Ford police car and a 10 pence piece to hold the choke. And he said he's built it up from being in his bedroom in a town called in Hare Hills in Leeds, which is where my hometown is, to being now to go off to France. So I thought, well, I was going to do my own career because my mum always said she don't want me in this kind of line of work. Don't know why. But I think because my mum and dad have worked so hard in the, in the trade, that they also wanted to get away from it. But I said, no, I want to do it. And I haven't looked back since. And I've been going for about 2-3 years now. And it brings on to the under 25. My mum was actually in the office and just saying like, there's a 525 which will get you to your RSPH level 2. And without a doubt, I just looked and I said, yeah, how do I do it? How do I apply? And then went through a processing interview. And yeah, just got on from that, really.
So who did you started doing your training now with the?
So my actual exam is in October. So I've got a textbook, everything. It's somewhere in the office, and it's not collecting dust just yet. I've got it. I've been trying to go through bits and bats because obviously it's a lot to learn, and obviously, but it's just like the basis. But there's obviously other areas that you need to, learn about. So it is good. And I take my exam in October. But to mention, there is a guy on the under 25s of mine, he's already completed it. So well done to him. He's done it. He's sat it, and I think he's called Will. I might be mistaken, but it come up and he smashed it doing that. So congrats to him on passing that straight away. But the others are in October, same as me.
So I've got a couple of questions straight away. It's a question then a follow-up question. You said you just did sort of like a level 3 in property management, and
Alex, you've gone quiet. Oh no!
Oh no! Can you hear me?
No, we're gonna hear you finally. I can hear you. Yeah,
absolutely.
Don't know about you. I can hear you loud and clear. Don't worry.
It's me.
Oh, okay. Panic.
I think it's used technology. To be honest. I think it is
just doing that to me. Right. So you said you just did a level 3 in property management. Now, as I'm sure you're aware, there's been this big debate going on around revitalising our qualifications framework. The BPCA and the MPTA and the RSPH have all been working very hard. And one of the big sticking points is what we currently refer to as our level 2 award. The awarding bodies and the trade associations believe it should actually be closer to a level 3. So having done your level 3 in property management relatively recently, and then having a look at the amount of material that has been presented to you for your pest management course, do you think that the amount of material you have to learn, is that a level 2, or is that closer to what you're having to do for getting your level 3 as property management, in terms of the amount of stuff that you had to learn and the time that it took you to get it?
It's a good question, but to answer that is they're two different things. So in property management is going out inspections, all that sort of stuff, doing that side, and obviously pest control is so different. So for me, when someone goes, "Oh, I want to just get into pest control," there is so many things. Like I thought, when I first started, I thought, yeah, I can do it. And I remember doing my first wash job, and I don't mind telling everyone because they are, when you get stung, you get stung. But yeah, I recently got stung in the neck because a trap went in, but that's another story. But yeah, so it's completely two different things, I think. But with my heart being set on I kind of want to retire my dad, because my dad has given me every tool and training. So has my mum. She's always, like, before, I wasn't very good in school, like, academic wise. So people thought, oh, he's just going into his mum and dad's business, like he's kind of a cop out sort of thing. But going back to your question, there is a lot more to learn than what it is in property, because property was kind of like, well, I've done things with my mum, done things with my dad, gone round when I was young. Do you know what I mean? But pest control, you're on your own 2 feet sort of thing, and you don't deliver to a client, then that client's going to come back on you. Whereas if in property, it's hard to explain, but with like a landlord is sort of thing, he'll get it done, but he can wait until he gets it done. But in pest control, if there's a rat running around your house, you've got to get it done, and it's like supply and demand. So with that, the level 3, yeah, it's a lot of work, but if you put your mind to it, like, you will do it and accomplish it. And that's my aim. I really want to, not to toot my own horn, but I really wanted to do it in June. but I thought, well, because I've got this opportunity and I've got people backing me, and I didn't want to let anybody down. So I thought, well, if I put it off for a couple of months, get up to speed with it and actually read everything and go over it, then I have a better chance of just rushing it, because you can't rush into it, because it's a lot, like I said, pest control is on your own 2 feet. It's a lot of supply and demand. So for me, it's like, I want to be the best I can be, sort of thing, like everybody does. But with the property side, it's a bit different to obviously the pest control side. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that brings me on to the second question. It's interesting to hear that our level 2, there is so much to learn, and there is so much to learn. You got to learn about rats, you got to learn about mice, you got to learn about all your invertebrates, you got to learn about all of the animals that are not pests at the same time, control techniques, the legislation in health and safety, huge elements to that. But it's interesting that you say that you had the opportunity to do it earlier, and yet you electively chose to push it back because you wanted the time to study and to learn and to get it right. A lot of people that come into pest management are my age. Some of them are Hugh's age, not many of them. But with that, many of us have not been in any kind of formal education for decades and decades. And the thought of coming in and sitting an exam or reading through and doing coursework, quite frankly, it is quite daunting, because we haven't sat any exams for a long time. You kind of forget how to do it. Your penmanship looks like a drunk spider running across a inkwell. So do you think that not having been long out of the education system, this is actually a bit of a benefit to you? Does the thought of sitting an exam daunt you, or is it just another exam that you've been made to do from the last 5 years of exams?
Oh, if I told you, I'm not going to swear, but I was absolutely terrible in school. I used to get more paper, when they brought exams, just to draw on, just to not concentrate. Yeah, they daunt me, those exams. So that's why, not in effect, I've put it off, but I want to do it, and I do. Obviously, as time's gone on, obviously younger, no kid likes exams. Everyone wants to just go play out and things and do work and all that sort of stuff. But I realised, obviously, you can be trained to the best of your ability, but if you don't have that piece of paper to say you've done it, then it's all for nothing, sort of thing. So yeah, it's going to be daunting, but who doesn't love a challenge? Do you know what I mean? So that's it, pretty much.
Thing is, at least you've had the experience to start with, so you can work along knowing what I'm picking it up as you go on. I mean, for me, the people that just have never done pest control and go straight in, do their level 2, do a 1 week's course, and then they've done their exam. They must come out of that exam reeling, thinking, what the heck? Whereas if you're like, say, with Rent-A-Kill, you do a week on the job, you're learning as you go, you do an interim test at the end of the week, you got 6 weeks working in, and building that knowledge up, and then you retrain after you've been out in the field for 6 months. So you've had a bit of an advantage in that you've been running around with your dad, and I've got to say, it sounds like me and my son. Yeah, definitely running around in the van. In fact, to the point where when I worked for Rent-A-Kill, we actually had the van split in half, and his kid's seat was strapped to a piece of Formica worktop in behind the back of the bulkhead. And we actually went to Spain in it. We went on holiday in it. So yeah, it was sounds very familiar, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it's just I've grown up around it. My mum's qualified and everything as well, so backbone of it, to be honest. Like, for me and my dad are like, oh, what, she always comes in and goes, look, this is it, this is what has to happen. Like, with contracts wise, she's there smashing it out when she doesn't really need to. Like, I'm kind of taking on her role as well, so I know ins and outs of it. But yeah, no, she's qualified and she's been out with us. I remember, I think I must have been about 12, 13. I think I was trying to be sick off school. So I think I said to him, I'm not really well, but my dad had a big pigeon deposit clearance, and my mum, dad went in, and I thought, oh, can I come with you? Mum was like, well, you will. I was like, yeah, but what harm will it? And I remember putting on a boiler suit and just with gloves on and all the PPE and just moving stuff. And yeah, just we are a tight knit family. So, and obviously, I just want to take over their, what they've done, sort of thing.
So why didn't you want to? Why? I mean, because I have to say, my son didn't want to be a pest controller either. It was just fate. Something happened, and he didn't have to do it, but he stood up and did it for me. So why didn't you actually want to follow that path?
Uh,
For a reason, or
I did, but it was kind of my mum.
yeah,
My dad was like, "Yeah, we're all for it. Like, yeah, you can do what I've done." And I think because obviously my dad has had staff in the past, but he's let them all go because obviously he was going to sell the business. So we had like Andy, Mark, all work for us, and just seeing how he was two different people, sort of thing. He was a family man and then a businessman, And I thought, well, because I was never good in school, like I said, I thought, well, I like his sort of way of how he does things and stuff. But my mum was like, no, he's not doing it. Muddy cuddle sort of thing. I don't mind because I'm an only child, and I love my mum and dad to bits, So obviously I respected what my mum wanted. She was like, no, don't want it, it's hassle. And I was like, yeah, but with the hassle there comes rewards. So yeah, it's hassle, but then you've got to see the rewards. And every pest control, sometimes they don't want to do that job, but then once they do it, it's rewarding because you finally, like say we have call outs at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning that I'll get up and go and do, for me, like I've been out recently to a guy who had a rat running around his kitchen, and obviously no one wants vermin in your house, no one wants rodents in your house, and just to make sure it was hassle getting up and going, obviously, yeah, because I'm 23, like my bed, do you know what I mean? Like my sleep, but getting up and going.
It's all down here. It's all downhill, man. 24, it all starts falling apart. Yeah,
Don't say
this is
that.
the glory year.
I'm 24 in about 6 weeks. Don't say that.
Oh
But
no, that's
seriously.
Yeah,
It is.
I've been told. I feel old already. I feel like I'm getting back pain, but honestly, mum's like, "What are you on about? You're only 23, 24." So, but yeah, no, just doing that, and then rewarding to see the client really happy that obviously everything's been dealt with. You put your poison down and identified areas, and you've actually spent time showing them where the areas are and what to do next. So that's the hassle, but the rewarding bit of it. But going back to your question, yeah, my mum was very much like, no, don't want you to do it. And then my dad was on like agreeing with my mum, saying, yeah, but then always saying to me like, yeah, if you want to do it, go for it. Pushing me, saying like, I don't want to do it anymore. So if you want to do it, and then sort of, I said, came in the office. I said, look, I really want to do what you guys do. I know it's going to be a long road, but let me help you. And they just kind of agreed. I think they went out for a pint or a wine, and they came to me. Yeah, I think everything gets resolved at the pub because obviously I went home and they went out for a bit of a meeting, and then come back and went, "Yep, come on, then you can do it." And then I haven't looked back since, and I'm just happy that pint and that pint of Guinness and that Sauvignon Blanc went down a treat, both of them. So,
so it's really interesting to hear sort of like the family aspect. And as we got here, we've got two legacies. You're a legacy, I'm a legacy. Hugh is creating his legacies as he goes along, and it's actually quite indicative of our industry that there is a lot of family teams spring up and then sort of like pass on that torch. But we mentioned this a little bit briefly off air, and I think this is probably one of the things, especially one of the things you think about being a young person, because pest control, as you say, it's not necessarily a glamorous job. It is not a Premier League footballer. It is, that we do have our fame and our accolades, but it's much more personal at that point. And it's not worth it. So, and I mentioned this, as I say, off air. How do your friends find and react to you being a pest controller? Because it's not it's not your average everyday today job. So how do they find it? And also, he has mentioned that you guys are listening, so you can put in the chat exactly how you find it as well. But no, tell us what do you think they think of it?
Honest to God, they've just known me to do it, sort of thing. So obviously, when I went to uni, they were very much as in like, "Oh, you're going to uni," and then I think they've always just kind of thought I'd go into it because my dad's always said like, you know, he wants to go into it, and you know, he likes it. But they've always known, as we call my dad Ratman, Ratty. Pulled up like in cricket, pulled up, and they all, because like all my friends, like when I was younger, all the mum and dads had like corporate jobs sort of thing, and my dad's rolling, picking me up, zooming past in the van down the cricket ground, and then picking me up and like again packet of quavers and a fruit shoot. I was happy as Larry, do you know what I mean? And then I just thought, well, I kind of want to take it on, and then my mates are all supportive mates. Like I'm supportive of what they do. Like one of my mate works for Caddick. One of my mates got a transporting business, one's a joiner. So we all do our individual things, but when it comes to mates, like we just talk about things, and yeah, they're supportive. So you can't really knock having friends like that, do you know? They call me Rat Boy and Rat Man, and oh, here comes the Rat Man sort of thing. I'm
there
actually,
you go, Farah. There's my son's thing. I don't know if you can see it. There's Rat
Boy Mobile.
Yeah.
So on a group chat, I'm called as Pest Boy, so it's the same thing. But it doesn't bother me. People are like, "Oh, doesn't that bother you?" No, I love it because my mates, you know. Do you know what's funny is, they go, "Oh, it's quite funny because obviously if they have a rat in the house, I'm the first person to call, so I love it." Or mice, whatever they have. But
and it's
yeah,
no mates race.
no, well, no, they asked for it, but you know, we're in a crisis at the minute. Everything, stocks levels gone up. Everything's got to go up. But so like sometimes like Friday when I was saying to Alex, what would I be doing now? I'd be probably at the pub, to be honest, or I'd be playing paddle or the gym or something like that. If a call came out and I'm with my mate, they'll come with me, sit in the van, and they're like, you know, like it's weird because they want to be a part of it, but obviously. So one of my mates who didn't have a job said, "Oh, can I come with you?" I said, You can't. I'm really sorry, you can't. You haven't got any training, you haven't got anything, and I can't risk it. So you can sit in the van, but what use? I'm not going to pay you. So I'm a Yorkshire boy, I'm tight, so you're not going to get paid, but you know. So yeah, just sort of things like that. But apart from that, yeah, my friends are really supportive of it, so you can't ask for much more than that.
So the question is, if your dad wasn't a pest controller or hadn't been a pest controller, what, as a young person, that sounds so old, doesn't it? A young person.
I'm not that young. Someone's called me 30 before,
no, mate.
and I was like, "Well, I'm not that. I'm not that old." But
no, Farah, you are. I shan't say which birthday.
I've got to be nice, haven't I? Sorry.
Yeah, you're young. Don't worry. I shan't say which birthday I've got coming up, and so you're definitely young. So what?
Triple figures.
It's yeah. I'm trying to forget it, to be honest. It's no, it's not good. No, don't. So at school, what do you think if your dad hadn't have been a pest controller, what could have been done to have even actually made you even consider it or look at it even? You know,
it's a good question. I'm not going to swear, but I'd be gone for, to be honest. No, I think in let's say back in the day, it says I'm not that
back in the day, 23, back in the day.
I said my back's playing up. I've got back pain, but no, yes. So it was always on offer. I think being called into. I'm a Catholic, so I went to a Catholic school, so it's chapel as you call it, but it wasn't treated like a chapel. That's a different story. But yeah, so we had their teacher coming. Or your apprenticeships are on offer. You know, you can do your plumbing, you can do your sparky, you can do your joiner. And that was the main. How many I said there? 4. That was the main 4, really. So my mate said, "Oh, I'm going to be a carpenter joiner," sort of thing. So I thought, well, back in the day, I thought, oh, well, I'd just say, well, I'd be a sparky. Or I was always going down the trade route. So I like to get up in the morning and get my ass out of bed, and I couldn't sit behind the camera. I'm not very, I can't concentrate on things, you know, I like all this and that. So I do enough office work, then I go out for lunch, even though it's at 9 o'clock in the morning. Do you know what I mean? So then I come back to it and go again. But no, yes. So then that's when it goes on to this 525, is because it never got mentioned. So if my dad was never a pest controller, I wouldn't even consider it, you know, sort of thing as like, oh, pest control. It's always been an idea sort of thing out there, like, oh, what do you do when you go pest controller? It's quite funny, like obviously on a night out, you say people come up to you like, oh, what do you do? And then on a holiday, oh, I'm a pest controller. It's the shock in the face, like, you know, like what? I've never heard that before. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's a common thing, you know. What do you think gets rid of your rats and mice? You know what I mean? So I think what inspired me to do the 525 is getting it into schools, like, you know, people offering apprenticeships in that. Like now, I think it is coming about. There's more variety, so you can go and do your drains. I know it's a plumber bit, but you can do the drainage. You can do, you know, roofing as well. Roofing's come about now. Yeah, obviously it's back in the day, but obviously, do you know what I mean? Like there's more trades out there that weren't, but you just had your typical four. So what I wanted is someone in school to go, oh, pest control, that sounds like a good, you know, a good trade. You know, it's classed as a trade. I call it a trade, even though it's not your main trade, but you know, it's part of the trade. And obviously, oh, that looks pretty cool. And obviously, if that was offered to me, I would do it, even though if my dad wasn't in it, because I'd be like, well, what's this mysterious? Like people go up to you on a night out and say, what is pest control? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, for that, if my dad wasn't in it, I would probably go down the trade route, because I was never gonna. Did go to uni, like I said, and people on the comments might be thinking, he did uni, but like, not forced. I wanted to go to uni because obviously my mum was like, yeah, you can go to uni because that's what she got brought up in.
Yeah, but most people go to university because they're putting off the fact that one day they're going to have to actually start working.
Yes, start work. Yeah, so
you know, start work, and that's your foot on the treadmill for the rest of your life.
So it's quite difficult because I've got a mate who's in uni, so he's going back to uni to do his masters, I think, in teaching, and my other mate's a qualified joiner. So it's like chalk and cheese sort of thing. Is my mate's qualified, and then my mate's going back to uni. So I just think young people, there was like people don't think because it's not offered enough, it's not spoken about enough, and I think this 525 is an amazing attribute to have, and just to speak on that is, you know, to get people into it.
So Susan's put up a question here, and I'm just going to caveat with a pre-question, which is because you've kind of touched on what do you think would get young people into industry, and said a bit more visibility at, you know, school level. But do you think that the reason that there's not that visibility potentially at school is because there's a bit of a social stigma around pest control? People don't like to talk about it, and so why would you necessarily have a teacher come in and be like, hello everyone, you can build a beautiful cabinet, you can rewire an entire house, look at this, you can create plumbing that'll give you hot water, also you can go and kill shit. You know, one of these things is not like the others, and because people don't really understand it, they don't sell it in the right way. Can you just imagine, like, you'd like your teachers to come and say to you, but can you imagine any one of your teachers actually having said that to you, like, here's pest control, and said it with a straight face?
No, because of like it's look. I don't know how you guys feel, or people watching, is he's looked down on. I think people go, like, you can have a laugh and joke about it, like my mates do, but when someone goes, "Oh, you do pest control," it's like, well, yeah, there's hassle in it, but like I said, it goes back to the rewarding bit. Like, well, all right, then you call me and you've got loads of fleas in your house, like, you know what I mean? And what you're gonna do? So it's a bit of arrogance. I think it comes down to is this. Oh well, that's disgusting. Well, it's a job. It pays well, I think. You know, even if you're training or you're self-employed and got your own business, I think it does pay well, and it's a thing that everybody. It's like it's not going away. We're not going to just switch a button off and go rats and mice are gone, cockroaches are gone, bedbugs are gone. We're not going to have any pigeons in the sky. You know, we're not going. You know, like it does get not wind me up a bit. Is people look down on it, but if people looked at it in a different light and said, "This is what we can do."
It's not exactly a pulling line, is it?
No, it's like I remember like.
And what do you do for a living?
Yeah, I'm a pest control. I love saying it. I don't know about anybody else, but I thrive off it. Like I love it. Like, oh yeah, I'm a pest controller, and then like that is back on them sort of thing is to think, well, oh, you know, like you should wake up. I've been taught, as my dad taught me, is wake up doing something you love and you get up and go for every day. Because if you get up and go to work and you hate your job, you're in the wrong job. You're in the wrong industry. You know, me, I get up every day. I look at my calendar and I look at what I'm meant to do. I've organised everything, and I think, well, this is my day. Nothing can disrupt the day. You know, if too much is on, then and I can't get done in the day, then there's always tomorrow. There's always, you know, do you know what I mean? But I think go back to your question, Alex. It's people look down on it really, which is a sad reality of it. But if we could change people's minds on it, then
I think one of the biggest sort of stumbling blocks is the van insurance, isn't it?
yeah, the van insurance. But I think get on a named driver. That's what we do. So trick in the chain. But I think if you really want it enough, then that wouldn't bother you. I know, obviously, I'm not saying low, like, you know, you can, you know, money's not an object, all that sort of thing is because, like I said, my dad started with an old Ford cop car that it had a 10 pence piece, wasn't insured, but obviously back in the day, he wasn't bothered about that. I think you had a piece of paper to say you were insured, but now it is hard, obviously. I think I've just read one of the comments is Sean said that teaches to people work sadly for others that they don't own their own business, and you know it's like forced into. So people grow up and think, well, I'm in school, I could become a teacher. They see the teacher, oh, it's an easy job, 6 weeks off, all the holidays off. But that's not where you should look at it. They're the sort of people that are the lazy
wasters.
Sort of, yeah, the wasters, the slugs. I think I actually read it.
Let's not disparage an entire group of people now, guys. But
why not?
Why not? Yeah, why not? I think there was I forget the quote of it. There's a sloth and something else. I'm not calling not calling anybody a sloth, but there's your sloth sort of people, and then there's your, I think it's like
cheetahs,
yeah, or tigers, go getters sort of thing, and it's just one of them. We live in a world where people are now on social media, like sit at home from the bedroom trading, but they're the sloth sort of thing. And you've got your other people that want to go out. You know, my mate wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning and goes out to work and works 10 hours and comes back. And then, do you know what I mean? So there's different type of people. It's one of them things, I think. So
how do you now? Okay, so you're doing your pest control training as such with the 5x25. How do you now further that training into running a business, or is that your mum and dad passing that knowledge on to you, or are you planning on sort of doing something down that route as well, or is it already there? So it's such like accountancy and marketing and all the other things that you do as a self.
Yes, it's all wrapped into one. So obviously my dad back in the day used to go out and do the jobs. My mum used to send the invoices out, sort all the accounting out. So that's why I said I come in the office some days, like Fridays, come in the office on Mondays, sort the work out, and invoice people that need to be invoiced. Chasing invoices, they're always a pain. People that think they can take 35 days or 31 days, you know.
Is that all?
But yeah, that's what we give them, yeah. Because you won't get it otherwise. Honestly, I've had someone not pay for 154 days.
Is that all?
Yeah.
This is not a competition.
I
wish it wasn't.
But yeah, no,
it's the worst competition in the world.
It's kind of all wrapped into one sort of thing. So it's kind of just to grow it sort of thing now.
Do you find that this is not meant to be rude, but as somebody that wasn't that academic at school, because I wasn't either, do you find that side of it intimidating at all, or is it just like, yeah, I'll do whatever I've got to do?
Yeah, do whatever I got to do, sort of thing. Yeah, it's kind of at the start it was very daunting. Like, geez, like so many people ringing and that, and to answer the phone and everything like. But to be fair, I've just grown with it, and obviously with mum being here, grown with it. So yeah,
Because
like
that is quite a different. Like, sorry, Biden. That is quite a difference, though, isn't it, between being a pest controller and being a businessman? That is two different things. You can be the best pest controller in the world, but that doesn't mean to say that you can run a business.
No, so you can go out and do all the jobs and earn £1,000 in one day, but who are you sending it out to if you can't do the office work, sort of thing?
Yeah.
So yeah, they were daunting at the start, but as I've grown, I've been doing it a couple of years now. It is. I do tend to find it easier with the layout of our system. Obviously, different people have different systems, but for me, I'm accumulated to our system, so it is good.
Susan brought up an interesting point, which is Hugh and I both have our own views on how to get this industry more engaged, or how to get the world more engaged with our industry. But we've both been in it a long time. Some of us longer than others, but we've both been in it a long old time. And so for us, all we've known is this industry, and to say, "Oh, we need to get people in by doing this." It's a little bit of a, it's like you're shouting into a box. We're just confirming what we believe. You're relatively new into this. You're relatively new, so if you were to sort of like, if you were to sit down with us now, and you're literally you're sat with a board member of both the BPCA and the MPTA right now, both listening to you avidly, with this, tell us how do we, other than sort of like approaching schools, how can we change people's minds about pest control? How can we change people's minds about this being, an undesirable job? If you were to give us a speech, give us a pitch, a business pitch now to your friends and colleagues and peer group to get them into pest control, how would you sell it?
Wow, put me on the spot here, Alex.
Absolutely have, yes.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thrive under pressure. That's what the saying is. It's not a difficult one, but it's difficult to explain it because obviously everyone's got the mind at the end of the day, if you want to go into everything. But for us as pest controllers, it's enjoyment more than anything. You wake up, you can go, you've got your own rota. Like, I know Rent-A-Kill have their own jobs and they pick and choose what they want to do on that day. You've got the freedom of the van, driving around, jumping out the van, interacting with people. Like, you might come across yourself, Hugh, that might be, I don't know. You might just have, you see different types of people in a day, and try to do that full time is amazing because you can brighten up someone's day. You try and brighten up everyone's day, but if you can help with that certain information of how to make sure they don't get rats in their house, like I said, it comes back to that rewarding thing. But to get more people into it it has to be expressed as in a better light. So people shouldn't look down on pest control because it's a normal job. It brings good money in, and you're your own person. So, like, your son might do pest control completely different to how I do it. My dad does it different to me. I've kind of gone off what my dad used to do. So someone come up to me the other day and went, "Oh, your dad did it differently." Well, I'm me, so I'll do it differently. I know you're used to my dad, but here I am, fresh face. And it needs to be spoke about in schools. It needs to be spoke about in different things. Because a lot of people go to uni and then jump to go work for Rent-A-Kill. So you've wasted. They're not wasted. Obviously, you've got a degree, and then you've paid all that money for a degree when you could have got your training with Rent-A-Kill. I know Rent-A-Kill are good at offering training and stuff. They give you a van. They give you your own freedom. And you've got that qualification of being a pest controller. So for me, what I'd love to happen is I can go out. Obviously, I'm not encouraging everyone to go out and get on the piss, you know what I mean? But go out, and I want someone to come up to me and go, "Oh, you know, what do you do? Oh, I'm pest control. Oh, same. Oh, how do you find it? You know, have a conversation with it." And that's why, obviously, it's just more. It needs to be more talked about because you hear about things like your carpentry or you know your plumbers and all that. But I think it really, really does need to be spoken about in a better limelight than, oh, you do pest control. Oh, I could never do that job. I could never do that. You know, like, well, you know, you should try it, give it a go. If you don't like it, it's not for everybody. But I can guarantee once you've tried it or you've gone out and you've learned with someone or you literally go out with someone and you'll see a different limelight to someone that does joinery, someone that does plumbing. Do you know what I mean? And I
Yeah,
think,
because you're a detective. You can run your own day. You can help people. You can find it rewarding every day. Well, unless you're one pest controller that's stuck in one big factory, which there are. Every day is different. Nearly every day is a challenge. You got your ups, you got your downs. You can, within reason, you can stop where you want. I mean, imagine just being able to stop in the middle of nowhere and have your lunch. You know, you're not tied down anywhere.
That's it. You don't have to plan like an office job. Oh, well, Susan's gone for her lunch. Sean's gone for his lunch. Oh, I have to wait 3 hours to go to my lunch. Well, you can go out, take your own break, you know, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
The biggest decision for lunch I've got today is if I stop at the Shell garage or if I hold on for another 5 minutes and get myself a Macca's at the next service station.
that's it. All thinking.
Do you think that at the moment, do you think, okay, you're slightly different than other pest controllers because you're running a business or newer, younger people coming into the business, because most people would look at it as starting for a company. Do you think that it's important that we have a progressive route that people can look at it and see it as an actual career rather than, yeah, I got my level 2, you know, go out and kill some shit and that's it? Or do you think that it's important that there's a progression above and not beyond that?
Yeah, it's a massive progression because, you know, I could have just got level 1 and 2 and not done anything. And I think that's what MPTA is bringing into play now is you need to get so many bonus points to be able to do so much. And I think that's what's quite good is because you're always striving to get them bonus points. I know I am. Every little thing I can do is get them bonus points. So I've got the top ones. But I think, yeah, it goes back to your question is, yeah, you get some training. I think you God Almighty, but it's so much more progression that needs to do to be the top. But like I said, people do it in a different way. But if you have more training and have more understanding of it in a progression system, then no one can say any different. Because if we said, "Oh yeah, we've got a progression system that takes however long it takes, but this is what the end route is," then I think more people will do that.
So would you? Okay, when you pass your level 2 in November,
when I pass it,
no,
that's the aim.
Yeah, when you pass it in November, would you look at doing your level 3, or would you just be happy with stick at level 2? What would you? What?
No, I'd aim to go as much training as I can get. So you've got the backing sort of thing. Is like, oh well, look at this guy. He's got how you know, if they did a level 10, I'd go for it. Do you know what I mean? Like he's got level 10. Like wow, you know, he's really putting in the time, and that's what I want to do. And it's that, you know, it's to have people look and go, oh, there's 10 levels. Like, you know, wow, like. He's a progression system there. You know, I've only got level 1. Well, why has he got level 10? I want to do that. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think that would encourage people in then?
And I think so. Like I said, people are different. Everyone's got their own mind. But for me, I think, like Hugh, if I saw you, if you did, if you had level 10 and Alex had level 5 and I had level 1, I'd want to beat Alex and I want to beat you, sort of thing. I'd want to get level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But that's just me as an individual. But I think people, if there was more levels and that it's, you know, you've got to do one to get to the other, to get to the other, to get to the other, which you do, people will be more inclined to go that route. And I think that's what.
It's interesting that you say that, because I'm not going to throw you under the bus here, and I'm not going to throw under the bus, but Hugh will well know, sitting on the other side, that the MPTA and the BPCA have been pushing for a long time to have a harmonized qualifications framework that actually does go from one, and it's not all the way to 10, but it is going to go, you know, to 4s and 5s and potentially beyond there as well, depending on what you want to do. But amazingly enough, when we've gone to roadshows and when we have gone to these webinar events, and we've described, there has been such tremendous pushback from the existing pest control community around, you know, I've got what I've got, it's all I need to do, and that's what we want to do. And so it's really refreshing to hear that, you know, yourself, actually, yeah, I want those points. I want to sort of like, I want to level up, I want to skill up, you know, I want to have the big shiny badge that says, you know, better than you, mate. And if that's the thing that gets you doing that, the metaphorical middle finger as you sort of like progress up the ranks and show what you're doing, I think we've just lost Farah, but I'll keep talking anyway. Because, you know, but while he comes back on again, it's interesting, isn't it, Hugh? Because you'll agree with me. It's one of those things that seems to. And back again.
I'm glad.
No worries. No, Farah, we're just simply saying that. That's it. Just did want to answer the question. No, we're saying it's interesting to see that actually the mindset that you have is one of sort of like, I want to level up, I want to skill up, I want to be able to empirically prove that, you know, I can put my money where my mouth is. I think it's what Eddie Hall says, isn't it? You got to be able to back up your bullshit. And it's I wouldn't say such a radical, but it's such a refreshing sort of like shift that, yeah, fair play to you. More than happy with that. There's a really nice comment here, but it's the second I put it up, we are going to
fill the screen
from the screen. It's going to fill the screen. So just very sorry, guys, but this is from Aled Williams, who says, you guys don't just do pest control. You protect public health, you protect properties. In some cases, you're even the first step in the NHS. It's a great career. I'd focus on integrated pest management that moves the job from placing poison down to identifying risk factors, recommending additional measures, checking up on the progress, and offering a first-class service. So we do have advocates out there, which is really refreshing to see. So thank you very much, Alan. That's wonderful to hear. Now, one of the things, I mean, God, we've been talking for an hour. Would you believe it? Now, one of the other things, sorry, very quickly, is one of the things that we hear a lot of is we can't get people to join pest control. We can't get people to join our industry because we simply, you know, we can't pay enough. You know, we make an offer of money and people turn us down because it's not enough money. But you've said twice, because I've made a note of it, that the pay is, from your perspective, it pays well. It's good paying work.
Depends if you're self-employed or whether you're employed by somebody else. And it depends what your employer is like.
What I meant by that is, I think I meant is you know, the even training is I looked on Indeed and seen that the starting is maybe 20, 18, I think 19, but I think
where can I get someone for 18?
See if I needed a pay rise or not, but no, I think. But then I think just showing that that's the training, and then you can, you know, for me is just like, well, I want more than that. So if I train hard enough, then I can go into it. You know, I can boost it up, and if you know, it's work hard, play hard, sort of thing. And I think what I meant is that a lot of it is. It's going to sound rude, but you know, it's if you do it self-employed, it's rewarding, but more hassle. But if it's working, it's more hassle, but less rewarding, sort of thing. If that makes sense.
Thing is, if you've got a responsible doesn't matter what age you are, if you've got a responsible employer, they will want you to progress and they will want to pay you more money because your staff are more of an investment in your business than buying a new van. Your staff, a company is only as good as the person that walks through that door. And if they feel valued and they are trained and qualified, and all of those things, and they feel professional, then that is going to be your business model. So, sorry, I was just seeing some bizarre comment.
Zane at 97, is that one of your friends, Farah?
Yeah, we did attempted to do the 3 peaks on Saturday, but you can kick him out because he doesn't give anyone. He's called he has a shop called HFC, and it's the worst chicken shop in Leeds. So no one go there if you come into Leeds. So it's the worst one. So don't go there.
Did you do the 3 peaks then? Or
I did one. I hold my hands up. I was only going to do one because if call outs or anything like that, I couldn't catch a rat on top of a mountain. I'd rather be back in
now
Leeds.
That is a good excuse, isn't it?
No, sorry. It is. Zane, don't leave at all. Stay, listen. This is good. And actually, I'm really glad that you are here and you're engaging because, I've been doing these podcasts for years. None of my friends have come on and given me shit. I mean, most of my friends are best good callers. Actually, they probably do.
It's funny because I asked for a free chicken and rice and he never gave me it, so he can leave if he wants. I want my chicken and rice. I want that. After this podcast, I'm coming.
Come on then, Farrell. Right. Go on. Sorry, Alex. Go on.
No.
I was just going to say, when you pass your level 2 in November, where do you see Shawkill and yourself going? What do you want to happen going forward?
Sky's the limit, sort of thing. Just grow. So,
but after seeing Dad grow, and then not get rid of, but
So for me, it's because I've got life in the old legs, as they say. I'm going to grow it and keep on growing it and keep on growing it to the scale of when I'll have 10 lads on the road and I have a big office. Obviously, but I'm going to say what's stopping us being the next Rent-A-Kill sort of thing. It's in the name, Shawkill. Like I said, sky's the limit. I could stay as I am, but I wouldn't be doing my dad proud on that. I told him I've always wanted to grow it and I want to do this, I want to do that. And I'm going to stick to my word. If I don't do it, then I've let myself down. But sort of thing. I've seen him struggle in the van, and I've done one job of getting him out the van, and he can be in the office annoying my mum, sort of thing. So I feel bad for my mum, but I've got him out the van, and he comes in the van sometimes. He misses it, but he doesn't really come in the van much. Like I said, he's in France. So, but then the next aim is to get me out the van, get me in the office. But do my training, so every time I get a lad and he goes on holiday, he goes on sick, I can just jump in the van and I can do everything and I wouldn't have forgotten anything. So
you've mentioned a couple of, my knees, my back. It sounds like I'm just about to break into a terrible Nicki Minaj song there. But with that, like, do you how much of a role do you think physical fitness plays into this? Because you are young and fit, and we are all old, grey, and knees made of crumbly, chalky powder. Do you think you have an advantage over others being sort of like, able to run up and down ladders to do wasps, without breaking a sweat? Is it important?
You're right. I don't want to be rude. Like I said, everyone's different. So, like, Dad can fly it well. He fell off a ladder and slipped his disc years ago. But he was just rushing. He was rushing. Do you know what I mean? So, but everyone's different. So people have been more experienced on ladders than others. So I think for me, because I'm young, I want to strive for more. as where my dad was like, no, I don't want to do it anymore. I've done it all my life. Like, you know, so that can come into play with it, but everyone wants to make money, and, you know, everyone wants to do well, and everyone wants to, like I said, get up and have a, you know, you want to get up and enjoy what you're doing, sort of thing. And if you don't, then it's the wrong job for you. So, but physical fitness, not really. Everyone's their individual. So if you don't want to do up a ladder, yeah, you send the young lad up, the apprentice sort of thing, if you do have one. But yeah, so but I think it's a good question. Yeah, obviously the young will probably fly up a ladder more than your old, you know, you know,
Watch it.
older people. Sorry, or you're more experienced people. There we go. See,
Oh, he's mastered the art of diplomacy already.
I was just going to say that. That's customer service, isn't it? That's quick. Yeah.
Yeah. Just come on. So, oh, my auntie's.
I've just got to quickly, if you don't mind, mention the other people that are on the 5x25. So it was Will Coombs that passed his level 2 the other day.
Yes,
so we've also got Jess Simac, we've got Ellie Egerton White, Madeline Perrott as well. So they're the ones that are going to be joining you for your at your exam time, and they will all pass.
Yeah,
because
so we'll all get through it together. So, you know, it's I haven't met anyone yet. I think quote me if I'm wrong, an awards night at Old Trafford Cricket Ground on the 17th of September. So, I think we'll meet everyone there. But, you know, well played. Well, fair play to Will. He's smashed it. I don't think I could go in and do it straight away. So hats off to him and fair play to him. And I'd like to see another person from the 525 come on here and experience them, because I'd definitely tune in and watch it. If they've tuned in or they haven't, it's only up to them. So,
well, you're the bravest in the first.
I think I read a comment of Sean saying, I don't know where it is. I think he said, how did you
I was going to bring that up. How did you first interact with people? What was the first, experience of interacting with a customer, and how did that go? I'll find that. I'll bring it up, but you've got it in mind. So, there's so many comments, I can't find it. The question was along the lines of, what was your first experience with, dealing with clients, and how did that go?
I think for me, when I first started with my dad, I wasn't the best either. I just hid behind my dad, sort of thing. Let him do all the talking, because my dad can talk for England, which I wouldn't change about him, so it's good. But yeah, I was a bit shy and a bit a bit reserved and that sort of thing. But it's just training. It's training and knowing what you're saying and getting experience. So when I went out on the road by myself, I thought, well, I've got to be confident now in delivering it, because if I'm not confident, then the client's going to think, well, he wasn't confident, so it doesn't give me much confidence. So I think I just learned as I go on, and now I am quite shy still, but, I don't think people will be going, no, you're not shy. But yeah, no, my family will know I'm quite shy. So,
do you find it easier? This is going to sound a really stupid question, but do you find it easier to be more confident when you've got your uniform on and as such, because you can use that uniform as a barrier? Because I do. I always have. It's you're Farah the pest controller. You're Farah from Shorekill, rather than or you're Hugh from Guardian, rather than just, oh yeah, it's Hugh, and you can hide behind that.
100%. It's kind of like it's like a shield sort of thing, isn't it? It's like a shield sort of thing. So, but I always, if I get called out, I'll always find a jumper or anything. But even without it, I think I've just learned to be more confident with it. Like, you are who you are, sort of thing. And I've just learned as I got older is like, you need to, you can't. It's like if you go to a rat job and you're not confident with where they're coming in. In fact, but you need to be, because if I was paying someone to come out and do a survey and get rid of the problem, and he didn't fill me with confidence, then I'm not going to be filled with confidence. So I think it's just in anything you do, you've got to be confident. You've got to be the best you can be. So I've definitely learned to just deal with it and as and training as well, and get on with it, sort of thing.
So when my son came back from uni, because I had hurt myself and blah blah blah, he came back to help me run the business, and my dad was driving him around because he couldn't drive at the time, and he hadn't had any training other than coming out in the van with me since he was like 3 years old, and all I ever used to say to him was like, "It's confidence, son." He's like, "I haven't got a clue what I'm doing." I'm like, "You got a mobile phone. All you got to do is look confident, sound like you know what you're doing, hide away in a cupboard, give me a quick call, and I'll tell you where to go next." And that's help. They've got a rat. What the fuck do I do? I'm like, yeah, and that's the confidence is really important.
It is one of my dad's, favorite expressions when he was imparting wisdom to me was, "In the valley of the blind, the one-eyed man is king." You don't need to be able to know everything in order to know, be
Enough.
have that confidence and know enough to do what you're doing. And so, be the one-eyed man, be the king in the valley of the blind. I have a bit of a I'm going to turn the tables on this because I want to test you out. I want to see what's going to go on here. We've got about 10-15 minutes left before we get to the end of the podcast. So Farah, we're going to turn the tables here. You're going to interview us for a second. You're going to sort of like going to turn the tables on it. You're going to interview us. So ask us some questions, maybe that you want to know about pest management, or that you want to know about, like we've been talking to you at the moment. So ask us some questions. Give us some sort of like things that you want to know. Doesn't necessarily things that your viewers want to know, just things that you want.
How did you guys find it when you first started out? Like, obviously, did you see more obstacles than benefits, or how did you guys find it starting out? Like, my dad tells me that he started out and he found it hard getting clientele and stuff, but how did you guys really find it? And how have you... There's two questions actually, so if you're, I'll tell you them both, but you obviously break it down. But and then how did you guys progress into the industry as well, sort of thing?
Well, I'll tell mine first because it's a bit different, and Hugh's will be more relevant to this. I came from the manufacturer's wing of things. My father, founded Pelgar along with Gareth Campbell Williams, and so I worked in a factory for the first part. I wasn't out on the tools doing it. I worked in the factory, and then I worked in the labs, and then I worked in the field units, and then I worked in the training units. And so my progression was one of actually building the product, making the products that you guys use, then helping develop the products that you guys use, then testing the products you guys use, and then with all of that knowledge going on to train people as to how those are. And then somewhere in between lab and field, I started to do actual pest control because why not? I'm doing it, and there's no better way to teach someone how to do something than by doing it yourself. So that was my progression in a nutshell. And then I went on to consultancy, and then I went to go and work for another global manufacturer. So a very different route. And I think that the person you probably want to hear from more with that is going to be Hugh, because he's going to have probably the more relatable story than I.
I'll try to keep it quick. So I was made redundant from a factory. I think I was 23 odd, and saw a job come up for Rentokil. So I went for the job for Rentokil, worked for Rentokil for so many 8 years as a technician, then switched up to being a supervisor, and then I was lucky enough to have the experience of doing the Devon, Cornwall and the Channel Islands, and looking after all of those guys there. And then unfortunately I had an accident. I prolapsed 2 of the discs in my back and had to have spine surgery. And I was dismissed through ill health from that company. Learnt to walk again and didn't know anything else. So I decided that I would start my own business and took it from there. And then 10 years later, I had another accident and had to learn to walk again. My son came home and ran the business for me. He was fantastic, just like you are. And he kept it going for me. And then we decided that we'd give it a go ourselves, and it went on from there. And that's 26 years doing the business, my business, and 10 years for Rentokil.
Wow.
About say for me, it's about would have been I would have started about the same age as you on the factory floor, and I'm 40 now. So that's 16 years from the other side of the fence. It's a long time. So go on. You've got time for one more question?
What do you think? Because obviously the 525 is linked with Syngenta, and that was another point actually quickly to make, to express out there how good pest control is. Syngenta are actually taking us to Paris for
Parasitic.
Tech, yes.
Yes, they're gonna. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. I'm gonna get an email or something in the morning going, oh, why didn't you get the name right?
We knew.
Yeah,
it's all right.
The thing, and they're actually offering things like that. So that's another thing that made me apply for the 525 is you can network and get out there, and they're actually providing that as well. So
that's cool.
What do you think of the new chemicals and the new poisons that are coming out fresh compared to the ones? Because we had a quick chat about Alex about FICAM, and now it's pie dust, I believe. So what do you think the benefits and the negatives of all that have come out, been tested in the past couple of years compared to the ones that you guys would have used today?
Who?
Well, Hugh, do you want to talk about the ones that we did have, because you've definitely got some favourites on your hymn sheet of products gone by, and I'll talk about some of the new ones.
Well, believe it or not, actually, which is slightly different, we've actually gone full circle. So we hardly use any rodenticides at all now. Certainly on domestic properties, we generally trap in the first instance. So we don't use rodenticides within domestic properties, hardly ever, if ever. So we've gone full circle. But going back in time, we had some pretty dodgy shit. Lindane, organochlorines, organophosphates like phenitrathion, diazinon, carbaryl, which is a bendiacarb, actalic, Cymag, sodium cyanide. So yeah, we used to carry around phostoxin in the back of your van, literally just in a carrier bag. So, and it was really quite, seriously, just used to carry it in a carrier bag in the back of the van, wrapped up behind Ryan's kiddie seat. Dusts, contact dusts, Lindane contact dusts. So things have actually improved, I would say. And and actually from the ring of steel, the first line defense against rodent intrusion, we'll just bait the shit out of everything, and anything that comes past that line is going to get lasered. The progression from then to now has been quite massive, and very quickly over a short amount of time, we've seen the reductions in professional use of rodenticide outside. So things have changed quite considerably.
Yeah. And yeah, I'd agree with that. The thing is with active materials, there's still, we have new things reaching our shores, but to speak from a global perspective, a lot of it's been around for quite some time. We're going to see at some point over the next year or so, different forms of neonicotinoid coming to the UK. We had cholecalciferol back in the 70s and 80s, and then it disappeared for 20-25 years, and then it came back.
It was shit back then.
Great thing. But yeah, but it was, and that's literally, and Thank you for saying so, because that brings me on to the next point, because probably one of the biggest advancements, especially in the rodents, formulations, isn't necessarily new active materials. It's what goes into the formulation chemistry. It's all of this knowledge and skill and expertise to make these rodenticides as attractive and as palatable as possible to rodents. I think that's where we've probably seen some of the biggest advancements in the last couple of years, is in making actually very palatable rodenticides that can,
anything will kill shit, but if they don't eat it, it's no good.
Exactly that. And when you've got high food competition environments, supermarkets, grain stores, the rest of it, it needs to be good. For the insecticides, it's always a bit of a movable feast, because we have, again, we are so heavily reliant on the synthetic pyrethroids, and there are many flavors of the same type at that point. They're all synthetic pyrethroids. They're all working on the nerve axon. They're all going to be mitigated by that same level of resistance. So actually seeing that we are potentially going to get some neonicotinoids coming over, that we still have defended, there's a couple of OPs out there. It's unlikely, I think, we're going to see a carbamate coming in anytime soon, apart from the carbamates that we find in cockroach gels, which are indoxacarbon. They're incredibly effective. Again, it's formulation technology. It's how we get it from A to B that actually makes this important. So yeah, I think the future's bright, and the future, as Hugh says, is down to us. There's a lot that we can do, and people bitch and moan about crew, but look at how well we've actually taken on these tenets of crew, almost subliminally now. What do we do? We'll trap first, trap then bait. Hugh, go back 20 years. Was there ever a thought process in there of let's trap them out before we bait them out?
Never ever did I don't think in all the time that I worked for Rentokil I ever saw a mousetrap. It was seen as being backwards and going back to being a caveman. It literally was. You use what? A mousetrap? Oh, well, we use this special paste, bromide, or you wouldn't use a mousetrap. Whereas now, it's like, no, we'll trap them first. And people are like, does that mean that they're not going to stink underneath the floorboard? I'm like, yeah, it does.
Depends when I can get back, actually, but yeah, okay.
But that's the way that we've changed that we've changed, and we've gone full circle, and we're seeing other things going full circle. Where people are, instead of just thinking, just blast out of that wasp nest, people have got to start thinking about it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's it.
It's been a big change. Yeah, liver baits for pharaoh's ants. Used to mince liver. Very, very horrible job. Mince liver up, put boric acid in it, and then used to put it in like an icing bag and used to squeeze it into lengths of plastic tube, and then you used to get a knife and cut them into little sections. And then you used to tape the sections on the walls for pharaoh's ants. So it has progressed quite considerably. I used to have a cement mixer in my shed that was purely there for mixing rodenticide bait. I'm sure your dad can remember that.
I think, yeah, like I said, he just had honestly. He had all stuff in when I was a kid. I used to go in the garage. I used to just go get my bike out and just see piles and piles of different things. Like, I was too young to ask him back then, but I always do ask him, like, what was that? He's like, no, it was just the rodenticides. And then I used to go to a lockup where we store everything, and you couldn't walk in because he'd have his little blue bag with Shawko written on the side in Sharpie. And then now it's like, I remember where he started from. So yeah, no, I don't ask too many questions now. But yeah, it was just a question really to say how it's gone from where it has to where it's going now. And like I said, it goes back to progression. I think there is a bit of a progression. They're testing more, they're doing more. So that's why I just thought I'd ask you both is how you see.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I have to say you might think that it takes a long time to get a product, to market, innovations and the rest of it. And ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you, it really, really does. It's not so easy as having a great idea and then being able to stick a label on it and sell it, the very next day. Some of these development pipelines, we are talking, you know, a turnaround of, yeah, a 5-year turnaround would be phenomenally quick. 10 years is probably the timeframes that most of these companies are working in. And that just seems ridiculous, doesn't it? I mean, it's they'll be working on something now. They, you know, metaphorically, they will be working on something now.
The royal they.
The great day, the royal day. And you might find in 4 years' time, it passes a feasibility, it fails a feasibility check, and that's it. Done, gone. 4 years down the drain. Start again. It's mad, you know. And so, be very grateful for the products that you have, ladies and gentlemen. They weren't there by accident. There's a lot of hard work goes into maintaining.
And that's why when people say, you know, about, oh, there must be a replacement for FICAM coming. There must be next year. I think that, you know, we might have actually heard of something, you know, it might be, there may well be something coming along in 10 years time, or, you know, in 5 years time, there might be something top secret somewhere, but it ain't going to happen like that, unfortunately.
No, there we go. So
anyway,
we're coming up to the end of the podcast. Farah, are you excited for the future of pest management? Are you excited to be in this industry for the next, you know, 15 minutes at least, but 5 years? Yeah, is this, you excited? Yeah. Just say yes.
Yes.
How old are you, Farah?
I'm 23. I'm 24. God, I know I'm 24. Hang on, I've got the countdown.
Yeah, you got 37 years to go, mate.
Yeah.
To catch up.
I am in, hang on, where is it? 40 days. I'm not counting. Yeah, 40 days, 24. So the weight's at my shoulders, but we strive on. And yeah, I do want to be the future of things, you know, and hopefully when I have kids is get them into pest control. So
got one quick one before we call the last three. So as a young person, are you more able to adopt technology such as electronic traps and AI and things like that? Are you more au fait with it? Are you sucking it in and using it, or is it just like, no, stick with what I got?
I'm obviously sticking with what we've got and what we order. What stock we get is using that. But yeah, there was obviously room to grow and check all these different things, because there's so much on the market now. It's mental. Like, you look at kill germs in catalogue, and it's like, God, I could be it's like Christmas, you know, when the Argos things. I am when you look through the Argos,
old enough to remember the Argos catalogue.
Yeah. Argos catalogue, and told you what you wanted. Yeah, it's kind of like that with kill germ and all the stock and stuff. It is it's exciting, but no, yeah. I think.
Do you feel like your dad's looking over your shoulder?
I mean, right now, is he right there with you?
Oh no one's here. If he was,
no, I mean,
if he was, honestly, if he was here, he'd be butting in and maybe pushing me to the side like that and saying hello and that, you know. But I'd have to tell him you're not invited on this one. Maybe next time, maybe in another life. Yeah, you get that. But no, yeah, he's always looking. He's saying, well, I'd do this, and then I learn from that, and then I'd do it, and I think, well, yeah, I've done that, and then, but if there's something that I like, it's quite good. It's weird because he's not really much of a listener, to be honest. But if I told him I'd do it this way, he'd listen and go, "Oh, well, I'd do it my way." Disagree, and then, but I'd be like, "Well, it worked," but then he'd actually think, "Oh, yeah, it did work actually." So, yeah, he's always looking over my shoulder. So is my mum as well. Like I said, his mum and dad, family business, like, they're always looking over my shoulder, and they
sounds familiar.
Yeah.
So if me and Ryan go in somewhere, well, I don't anymore because I don't really go out that much, but when we used to, it used to be like the Laurel and Hardy show, because neither of us could shut up.
Del Boy and Rodney with us. Oh,
yeah. We'd always go in and we'd say, right, are you going to lead or am I going to lead on this one?
With that one, sorry to butt in, but it's always dad just opens up, he goes, "Hi, how you doing?" And then I'm like, I thought you told me to lead. And then it's like, it starts in the van, he'll just start talking, and then I'm like, well, I was meant to speak on the phone and all that. So, and I've actually got something, I'll just be quick. We got these made, and it was his idea to get these made, but I didn't like the font, and I think we fell out for about 2 hours because he didn't like the font. Because I didn't like it. So he's stubborn when it comes to that, but these are brilliant.
Do you ever get the phone put? Do you ever put your phone down on your dad?
Oh yeah, all the time. If I don't like to answer it.
Yeah, I get that all the time. It's like, why are you being like this? Why are you being like this?
No, it'd be. We'll be looking at a contract at site, and he'll ring me, and he's inside, and I'm outside doing the external, and I'll be like, hello, and he'd be like, where are you? And I'm like, well, just round the back. Why? Oh, I'm inside. Come in when you have a minute. And I'm like, well, I am going to come in, but that's why we come together. So you look inside, I look outside. But yeah, no, to be honest, I have full credit to. We do bicker sometimes, but I won't be where I won't be without him and my mum. So I've got huge, massive respect for them, and that's why I've kind of said, give me the reins, I'll take it on, because I just want to make them proud. So yeah, I've got huge shout out to them. So
cool.
Yeah,
but it goes back to your question. Where would I be if I wouldn't be in pest? Well, I wouldn't be in pest control, but I'm so happy that they've done what they've did throughout the years. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm here now, and so just take over them, and so they can retire on a beach or in the house in France and not worry about it. So that's the aim.
It's definitely one of the most rewarding things
100%.
working with your dad. Yeah.
Sometimes it's challenging. It's challenging. I tell you that, it's challenging, but sometimes it's very rewarding. I'll come in, and if I've got a face on, and my mum's going, "Has he done something?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then my mum and me just say, "Stay in the office. You're not coming out. Stay in the office." And he goes in the sulk, and he goes on his phone. But yeah, I wouldn't change him. But I wouldn't change them both for the world. So yeah, that's it.
Oh dear.
Sometimes I bite my tongue because he is right, and he is right when I do things wrong. But he'll be killing me after this once this podcast goes out. He'll be like, "Why are you making me out to be like this?" I'm not. I love them both, but
mate, I think we better shut up before we both dig ourselves a hole, because my son's going to be watching it and going, "What the fuck?"
Oh, I'm going to get a phone call. I think he's already tried to ring me, so I need to ring him back. Say it went all right. You interrupted.
All good.
It went all right.
So last three, then. We'll close out on the last three. So I'll go first. Have you enjoyed your time on the podcast?
Loved every minute of it. When are you calling me back for next time?
Well, hold on after the show, and it might be sooner than you think. Hugh.
So give us a shameless plug then. Tell us something, push something forward that you want everybody to think about, or give us a shameless plug.
I want people to look at pest control in a different light and not think it's just a shitty job. It's the most rewarding job in the world, I think. Well, for me anyway, I like doing it. I love doing it, sorry. And I want people to think, oh God, yeah. I hope people watch this podcast, and people that don't like me or do like me, and think, oh, he's doing all right. He's fine. And I want to watch more. I want to do this. Want to do that. So that's the shameless plug, I think, is get pest control spoken in a better limelight.
Perfect. That's really good. Really, really good. And finally, from your perspective, who would you like to see us interview next?
I want someone from the 525, someone else. Even if the camera shy, anything, honestly, it's been amazing podcast to be a part of, and I'm really thankful to both of you for letting me come on, and appreciate me saying how I see things and stuff. I really appreciate it. But yeah, defo someone else from the 5. I even like that Will, who's done the RSPH level 2, and talk about how he found it, so others can write it down on a piece of paper and realise, what we've got coming in and what's in store. But yeah, no, 100%. Just someone from the 525 and then you're another young person that can, and that's how we're going to grow it. Do you know what I mean? So.
Oh, really pleased to hear that. And yeah, it's going to be great. But with that, we're going to have to draw it to a close, because there's a lot of love coming in from you on the chats. But don't disappear off after this. We'll catch up with you afterwards. But for everyone who's listening, thank you ever so much for joining in. And last word from Hugh. Remind us next week, who have we got, Hugh?
Colin Smith. Colin Smith next week, author and inventor of many pest control products.
Perfect. Right. Night, guys. Bye.
Cheers. Thank you for listening to the Beauties and Beasties podcast.